Well, welcome, 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 everyone. Greetings. And I want to say thank you so much for being here today, that you are tuned into the LKM Kingdom Living, Leslie's Lessons Learned. And today I'm with my cousin, Dr. Donald Thomas, and we'll be talking about preparing for retirement. Let's get so yes. Hey Donald, how you doing?
Aloha, how are you and the family doing over there?
Aloha is what I should be saying. My cousin lives in Hawaii. I was thinking today, and I said you lived in Hawaii more than you lived in the in inland. You
That's
know,
true. That's
yeah.
true.
And even though you're out there, still a part of the United States. A lot
That's
of people
right.
don't realize that, but you are still a U.S. citizen.
That's right. That's right.
And I just thank you for being here. You were on a couple of weeks ago, and we were supposed to be talking about retirement, but we talked about health, which is just as important in retirement,
That's
that
right.
needed to go forth. You sent me something about grounding. I didn't know if it was something you wanted to touch on, or you was just sending it to me for information, because a lot of people. And we're not going to stay here long. We are going to talk about retirement, because somebody asked me, well, we're going to talk about retirement. But grounding is something that a lot of people are just starting to really get back in contact with. And it's something that's very helpful for the body. And I know
Correct.
you sent me some information on it, and I was going over that. So I wonder if that's something he wanted to touch on when we went live. So I don't know if it was or not that you.
Well, you know what happened was that a few months back, you'd asked that question, and so I found some information. So basically, grounding is what the people used to call barefooting. Yeah, that's just what it comes down to. We live in the cities and we live in the cosmopolitan areas, and so we always have on our shoes and our boots and our sneakers, and it's very rare that our flesh, bottom of our soles, actually touches the ground.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, from dust you came, from dust you return. You need to
that's
be
right.
in touch with that ground. Um, when you get ready to take an EEG or EKG, that's testing the electrical impulses in your body. There's electrical impulses, there's a magnetic pull of the earth. And the more that you can kind of, you don't have to walk around every place barefoot, but if you can find a nice little clean spot to just kind of
That's
stand,
it right there.
find a clean spot, you're just at one with the earth. And so
Right.
grounding is just basically just what it says. You are being at one with the earth. You are putting your flesh feet on the earth and getting that direct connection. So that was basically what I wanted to follow up with.
Yeah, and it's so true, because people don't realize that we're connecting with where we came from,
That's right.
you know, and that there is a lot of health um, what avenues that come along with grounding. Now,
Yes.
I remember when we y'all used to come to Willenboro, and we used to run around barefooted, and somebody said, you run around barefooted, your feet gonna get big. And I stopped running around barefooted. And now I try to get back into the swing of things by doing it. But I'm always thinking about all the dogs people have around now, and they just let them go to the bathroom all over, all the cats, and all that different stuff that when you're children, you don't even think about.
You're not even thinking about
Don't
that.
even think about. And so I'm I'm like you said, trying to find a clean spot, which I would never know if it's clean or not, because I don't know who walked their dog there or not, and really try to get grounded again, as they call it. And one of the things about that is that they made shoes out of rubber, and so the rubber keeps us from connecting. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, the rubber keeps us from connecting. So that is something that people are like, what is grounding? What is that? So yeah, that's something, and the only thing it is basically the basic answer to that. They have to make everything seem enticing, but it's just walking around barefooted on
Barefoot,
the
that's
earth,
right.
on the
That's
ground.
right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, I didn't know if you wanted to really, talk about it. And we're here today to talk about retirement. And one of the things that maybe we could touch on, there's so much information out there about what's not going to be as far as retirement is concerned, and making you, um, there's even things out there. I get things sent to me. You're going to get a double check this month. And I'm like, really? And then when you read it, it's not for you, it's for
Right.
somebody else, or a lot of times the check is for someone that's just starting to retirement,
How about that? Yeah.
and they make
One of
you
the things, yeah, I think AARP, they must have a master list, because as soon as you're getting close to 62, they start sending you stuff. Now, AARP is a legitimate organization, but it's just, you're getting old when you start getting stuff from AARP. But the bottom line,
when I was almost about to be 50, they were sending me stuff.
they were sending you stuff. Oh, yeah, they're gonna get you. But one of the
Yeah.
one of the main things is, and it shows you any good thing can be misused. As you begin to approach retirement, you're also going to be victim to scammers, people
Yeah.
who are going to send you all kinds of things that you can do this and you can do that and take out a second mortgage and all of this sort of stuff and so on. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So, one of the first things you want to think about, we still get back into health. You can retire at 62, 66, 67, or 70.
Right.
If you feel that your health is strong, or you've socked away a certain amount of money, or there's certain things that you want to do, you can go out at 62, but you're leaving several $100s per month on the table when you go out that early. And so it is normally recommended that if you can, try to wait until 66. Now, for me, it was 66, but as they're pushing it back more, and as I worked in Social Security for so many years, I knew that there were some things they were going to do. So right now it's 67. And if I talk to you a year or so from now, they may push it up to 68. That's
Yeah.
that's how they're going to do it.
I just received a letter, because now I'm about to be 67, saying that there's money out there that I needed to check and see if I could get. So
Yeah.
I called them, because remember I told you I was on my husband's Social Security
Right.
because he was getting more. And
Right.
then they sent me this letter saying you could probably get more on your own. So when I called them now, I can get money on my own Social Security, like $300 more a month.
Okay. Okay.
So
If you saw
now that,
$300 on the ground, you wouldn't walk past it. So, but
but
see,
it wasn't like that.
what you did was the most important thing. A lot of people don't follow up with either Social Security office or whoever. Follow up, because everybody's circumstances is slightly different. When you told me that you were getting the Social Security, but then you're getting it on your husband, so your ex-husband, that's a little bit different than someone who, say, wasn't married or is still married and so on. So if you have any questions, there's an 800 number or 888 number that you can call Social Security. If you have the time, you can even go down to your local Social Security office and start asking them, I'm getting ready to retire. What are some of my benefits? What are my options? So on and so on. Like I said before, there's no shame in ignorance. There's shame in remaining ignorant. If you
Yeah.
don't know, you ask and keep asking until you get the right answer that you need. So that's one of the big things for retirement, is find out what are you available for. With my wife still works for the state of Hawaii. I'm retired. They send me things for Medicare all the time, Medicaid. As I called up, they're always, oh, you should call and see if you're eligible for blah, blah, blah. Well, they're saying to me, as long as you're on your wife's, you have a better deal than what you could get through us. But you have to find that out, and so that's why you need to call. And these things, excuse me, just like tax law, insurance law, things it can be very complicated. And so don't let yourself get overwhelmed. But you just, if you want to, before you even call anybody, whatever questions you had, write it down. And this way, when you call these people or when you go into that office, you know exactly what it is you want to know about your finances. And that's my point. Everybody's different when it comes to every 2 weeks when they take money out of your paycheck. Everybody was taking a little bit different. Even it might be the same percentage,
Right.
it was different. So you find out what's available for you. That's number one.
Yeah. Um, that's a good point. And when I called, it was surprising that they were, I guess, because of my age now, like you said, it was better for me to go on my own plan, but I had to um, do everything all over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like I had an experience where I won a Social Security case for a young lady, and she thought she was just on SSI. Well, come to find out, she was adopted. She was eligible for her adopted parents' SSDI.
Oh,
And that was something that she didn't know anything about per se. So that's why, it's always good to follow up. The way the government acts, it's their money to keep, your money to get. So don't you be shy about asking things. If you were adopted, you get ready to retire, or something of that nature, just look and find out, which are you eligible for anything else out there. So you never
what's
know.
the difference?
Excuse me. Oh boy.
You okay?
Yeah, we had a lot of dust was coming up here.
Oh, okay.
The bottom line is that SSI is a program based upon, can you work? Does your disability prevent you from working? SSDI, every 2 weeks they take money out of your paycheck. That goes into SSDI. When you retire, that money comes out of SSDI.
Hmm.
If you have a parent who passed away and the child is 16, 17, 18, that
Okay.
child could be eligible for the
Oh,
parent's Social Security. That
yes.
comes out of SSDI.
Okay.
If you're a widow and you're eligible for your husband's or your wife's Social Security, that comes out of SSDI. So
Okay. So that's what I was already
that's
getting.
what separates it. SSI is strictly, I have to prove, I say I in terms of a representative,
Yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
to prove that your medical conditions are such that you can't work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week like everybody else. That's the only thing that's the SSI. Everything else is DI. And if you and
Okay.
you have to have at least 10 years of work in which the company was taking out for Social Security in order to be eligible for SSDI. So I
Okay.
have worked with teachers and even police officers. If you're on contract and they're not taking the Social Security out, if you don't have it taken out yourself, even if you were a teacher for 10, 20, 30 years, you still may not be eligible for the SSDI because you weren't paying into the system. So
Okay.
that's another thing. If you're a contract worker, any sort of contract work, be it construction work, tutoring, whatever, you make sure, if you want SSDI, if you want retirement, make sure that it's being taken out. The easiest thing to do, if they're not taking it out, you go down to your local Social Security office and say, this is how much I make. Tell me how much I need to have taken out every month so that I'm on target. And then they'll
Mm.
let you know that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you can either put aside a certain amount of money, or you can work it with the Social Security office. How do you get this money every month so that I'm covered?
Okay. Yeah. So, but SSDI,
Mhm.
like that's what I'm on because I'm collecting my husband
Correct.
as a widow.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Widow's benefits is SSDI.
Okay. Now, for me to go on my own, that's SS.
You
Just
know, how many years did you work that they took out Social Security?
a whole lot. That's all I can say.
Then you're DI.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you're
so it
DI.
doesn't matter.
No, you're DI.
Okay.
What happened? I worked for Legal Aid for 10 years, Legal Aid of Hawaii. And Legal Aid had a contract with the Department of Welfare. They wanted anyone who was getting welfare because of a disability, which is state monies. They wanted us to help that person apply for Social Security to see if they would be eligible for federal money and get off of the state dole. So those people, 95% or more of those people were only eligible for SSI because they did not have a work history. And
Okay.
that work, like I say, and that work history has to be 10 years in which the company was taking out. You have to have 40 work credits within your work history year. And again, Social Security will have a list of every job you ever had, and
Right.
they'll tell you whether or not you have those 40 work credits.
Mhm.
If you have those 40 work credits, then you could get the DI.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if the DI was just something, was still something special like the SSI.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was another entity to it. So that's why I was
Mm.
just asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even with Social Security now and the threats of it not being around after a while, um, I, I I think that people should be encouraged to still try for it now, even though they have those messages out there that it's about to go away.
Well, there were people who were fighting Social Security from the days first Social Security started. It's a very popular program politically, and as I say, the chances of them getting rid of Social Security is very slim compared to them tightening up the Social Security. They're going to push back the eligibility age. They're
Right.
going to make it more difficult in terms of, even if you're eligible as a disabled person, they're going to make the disability criteria probably stricter. So there'll be ways that they can kind of filter out a lot of people without them getting rid of the system. They're just going to make it even more. Right now, the American Social Security system is one of the most difficult in the world. I
Really.
tell people all the time, when I'm advocating people, there are people who have medical conditions, and you would just say, oh, it's obvious that they're disabled. No, no, not in that. In the eyes of Social Security, you have to have a disability that would prevent you from working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, like everyone else. And this is why one of the things I say to people, if it's bothering you, you make sure you get it into the medical record. Because if it's not in that medical record, you get ready to apply for Social Security. If it's not in there, it never happened in the eyes of Social Security. If
Right.
you're having nightmares every night due to a trauma or something of that nature, but you're not telling your doctor, it never happened in the eyes of
No
Social
history.
Security. A lot of people, I always say to people, how you doing today? Oh, fine. Well, if you go to the doctor and tell the doctor you're fine, well, as of October 31st, 2024, you told the
They were
doctor you were doing fine. See? And Social Security will jump on that and saying, well, if you're saying you were disabled, it couldn't have been before October 31st because we have a medical report that says you told the doctor you were doing fine. It's common for people to answer with fine. But when you go to that doctor, from your head to your toe, if it's bothering you, you make sure you get it into the record. Whether you're going for Social Security or not, you never know. You just want to be able to have a very accurate medical record for yourself down the line in case. And then, I was talking to one doctor. If I go to a doctor 3 years ago, the doctor examines me. We develop a good rapport. I come back the next year, the doctor's there. I come back the next year, the doctor's gone. Well, I have to start almost all over again.
Yes.
The more I have gotten into my medical record those first 2 years with that one doctor, when that new doctor comes along, they have an ability to kind of get a good update on everything that's going on with me. It's not like I have to start all over again.
Hmm.
So that's why it's good to make sure you get all of your issues. You want to complain to the doctor. Some people, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. When you go to the doctor, from your head to your toe, you get it into the record.
Yeah. One of the other things that I was thinking about was this: they're talking about, and well, in some places they already are taxing SSI, in Social Security, putting
Certain
tax.
states, yes, some states they can tax it. Um, if you're on Social Security, you can make money, but they're going to tax the money. Now, I'm on disability. Excuse me, I'm on retirement. I can make as much money as I can make. Thank you, uh, but I have to pay taxes on it.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's the point. When you're at 62, there's a limit to how much money that you can have at any given time. They don't want you to have more
Right.
than about $2,000 in the bank at any
Right.
given time. One of
Right.
the things about that, this is what happens here in Hawaii, you could be on SSI, disability, You didn't know that your name was a part of a family land. If there's three people on that land, your name is one of the names, and the land is worth $100,000. You split that up into three, you're over income, and you wind up getting cut off from Social Security because they come to find out that you're over. Even though you may not be living on the land, it's in your name, and so that's considered an asset. You
Wow.
know, a car that you drive is not an asset as long as you're driving it. If you have a second or third car, those are assets.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
yeah, the house that you live in is not an asset. If you have another house and you got people paying rent to you, that's an asset. So these are things for people to kind of know ahead of time, especially when it comes to that property. I've had several people out of the blue, they got cut. And the Social Security said you're over asset. And they said, I didn't make any new money. And come to find out somewhere down the line, their name is on property. And that's what takes them over, you know.
That's interesting because I had never heard that before. I was reading the other day, and it was saying that some people will not be eligible, and that some people was going to be taken off. And I was like, whoa, 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 let me read this. And when I read it, it was referring to immigrants, and if you came into the country 50 at 50 and you were not eligible for Social Security. And I thought that that was quite interesting. And you were talking about tightening up, and I
Right,
thought about that
right.
when you said that. Yeah.
And you know, here in Hawaii, you have people from Micronesia. Now, a very quick story: the Micronesia, the Bikini Islands, and so on. America bombed that place to the point that you can't live in certain parts of it. So
Mm.
Micronesians here in Hawaii, um, they can get welfare, but they can't get Social Security. You
Because
know,
of it.
well, they're not considered citizens in the same way, even though they're brought over here.
Oh,
Um, they're not considered citizens, or there's an ineligibility system there. A Micronesian child born in Hawaii is eligible for it because I
mm,
have won cases for children in that circumstance, but the parents weren't. So you know, it's again, it's one of those things where you have to look and see from the earliest times, what am I eligible for? You know, if you say my parents were born here in America, so I'm American citizen, that would change from we came here at age 50 from another place and so on. So you again look into it for yourself and find
mhm.
out what your eligibility requirements are.
Okay. So I don't know what's. I think that just before, what's the age? When do you start applying? Say you're about to retire. You start applying. Is it 6 months before, 3 months before?
Six
How?
months, usually 6 months before your birth date, that makes you eligible, is a good time for you to start getting all your paperwork together and you can submit it. It's not going to go through until you turn that age, but you have everything ready and you know in the can, as they say, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah, don't wait till the last.
Okay. So, and what's the preparation process for? Uh, what's the preparation process for preparing for retirement? Not just Social Security,
But
but
for retirement,
yeah.
okay, okay. Well, you know, if I got ready to drive from New York to South Carolina, what would be the preparation process? I make sure my tires are good. Make sure the oil is changed. Make sure the air conditioner works, or at least the windows work, so I can roll them down as I drive. The bottom line is that preparing for retirement is the same thing. What's going on with my body? What are the things that I've been putting off because I had to work 5 days a week and I've been putting off and putting off? What are the things that I need to look into before I get ready to retire so that I can really enjoy my golden years? You know, look into your insurance. As I was saying to you the last time, my insurance covers chiropractic. I get 20 visits a year. I
I
go to the
need to go.
chiropractor. You know, does your insurance, does your insurance cover physical therapy? There's 6 a year. I go. The whole idea is to prepare your body. Unless you were born rich, you had to work. Some of us started working since we were teenagers and never stopped working until we were in our 60s and sometimes 70s. All of that time, we were diligent about getting up and going to work. But were we taking care of ourselves? Were we taking care of our health so that we will be able to really enjoy our time when those days come that we're retired, when we don't have to punch that clock?
Right.
How are we feeling? So one of the things is to prepare yourself. I was talking to the veterinarian the other day. I asked the veterinarian, how long you been doing this, doc? He said, 30 years. He said, I put aside all of my hobbies. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't a vet anymore. And I said to Pam, I started to go and get on my soapbox with him and say, no, don't put your hobbies down.
Right.
As much as you may love your profession and what you do, you always need to have something that is just for recreation, to de-stress yourself. We are all subject to stress, to a certain amount of anxiety. You want to have something that just lets you just be calm, relax. Like I say to people, as much as I'm into everything to do with philosophy and nutrition and everything else, I collect comic books.
Right.
Something that is completely, that's mild. That has nothing to do with the gravity of the world, but it's something that gives you a balance.
So before you go any further, let me just say he collects them and he sells them.
Yes.
He has a comic book store. So
yes.
if you or your children are interested, you can go. I don't know what that website is.
That's called the Black Arachnite. Arachnite is like Spider-Man. The Black Arachnite. If you go to Google and say Donald Thomas comic book store, you should be able to find it with that as well. But the point with the comic books is just something. It is something more recreational, something to take your mind off of the day's issues and so on. It's just like you read the newspaper, and after you read all the doom and gloom, you go to the funny pages. You get something to kind of balance life out for you. And so you always want to try, if you don't have a hobby, part of the preparation for retiring, start looking into a hobby, something that you always was interested in. Nowadays, if you like photography, you don't have to buy the most expensive camera. You can go on eBay or someplace and get a good camera for a few $100s. And now you don't even have to go have the film process. You can go put it in your computer and so on. The idea is to get into something that relaxes you. We don't have enough things. We are very serious about taking care of business, and that's great. But part of taking care of business is taking care of yourself and relaxing yourself, giving yourself the time to decompress. Sometimes, Pam and I met in the mental health field. And so I always say to her, I said, listen, I know every crazy thing that you went through today because I went through it myself.
Right.
But when you come home, I want you to kick off your shoes and just kick back. Sometimes you just walk in the house, wash your hands and start cooking. I said, you just got in here. You de-stress. De-stress. Yes, de-stress. And this is something that we all need to get into a better habit of. When you get home, just don't go from work to housework. You work, come home, relax. You want to take a hot bath, take a hot shower. Just de-stress yourself and get into habits of learning how to calm yourself and stress yourself out. Now, you watch on television, the executive, they come home, first thing they do is go for a drink. Well, now, you can do that 1 or 2 times, but if you keep doing that, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
If the only way you can de-stress is by getting drunk, that's no good. This ain't no harm in having a little nip and don't fall down and bust your leg. Don't take it to the point that that's the only thing that you can use to calm yourself is that cigarette or that alcohol. Those are relatively negative ways to de-stress yourself. But when you come home, you relax yourself first. Give yourself some time to just chill out and forget about that job for the next 8 hours or whatever it is. Again, I used to be an executive director of a mental health program. I was working 7 days a week. And I said to Pam one time, I said, gee, this is getting to be too much. I need a hobby. And she said, well, what did you used to do? I said, I used to collect comic books. And she's the one that bought me the first comic book,
Wow.
got me back into collecting comic books. So it's
Wow.
just the idea of learning how to de-stress yourself and prepare yourself while you're working for those days that you're going to have a lot more time on your hands. Can you fill it with things that are constructive? Maybe you want to do volunteer work. Maybe you want to go to a senior center, find out where the senior center is at, because one of the negative things about retirement, you can find yourself being shut off from other people, from the world, and you become very reclusive. Even on this block here, there's several places, several houses. I rarely see the people. They're retired. They rarely come out. You don't want to get into that. You always want to keep a good contact with someone, be it coworkers, be it cousins, family, friends. As you get older, you want to maintain some sort of social connection. It doesn't have to be physical, but that's a part of retirement too, that
Yeah.
you have people that you can reach out to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the things I would, even for exercise, um, I would recommend line dancing. That's something everybody seems to love to do, is to dance. So I think that in the field, I would recommend that as well.
Most certainly. Again, you're interacting with other people. You
Right.
have some place to go. Even for your mind, as you're learning a new dance, you're learning new things. That's good for your brain.
Yeah.
They tell people about crossword
I
puzzles,
was
things
getting
of
ready
that.
to say, yeah.
If your apartment or your place has it, a pet. A pet is something that is very good for senior citizens because it helps you put your focus on something other than yourself. And you may feel terrible today, but you will get up and make sure that the dog or the cat gets food for that day. It'll take your mind off of just you and your pains if you have them. So
Yeah.
things that you can do for yourself before you retire that will really kind of help give your day some sort of activity. That's a part of how do you prepare for retirement.
Yeah. 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 That's good. Um, yeah, because even on my phone, I have the crossword puzzles and things, and I'll do them just to help my mind
Keep your
stay
mind right.
active.
You have to
I
keep your
don't
mind
want.
active.
Yeah, 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 and that's a very important part of retirement. Is finding things to keep you active,
Active.
volunteering, and there's organizations out there that look for volunteers. You
That's
can
right.
volunteer for the Cancer Society.
That's right.
They have different kind of. I used to be one of like a receptionist, volunteering my time, that way. But there are communities and organizations out there, uh, the senior citizen homes and different things like that. If you say you're a retired teacher, there are community clubs or community houses that's looking for teachers that can help uh, educate those that have not completed education, those that or speak another language and want to learn the English language.
That's
That
right.
those that even at the Boys and Girls Clubs, they are looking for teachers to come in and help with tutoring. There's daycares looking for tutorers. There's so many things that's available to us after school programs, looking for tutorers, looking for um, not just tutorers, but people to work with children.
Yeah, mentors, even mentors, or mentorship
Right,
programs. Yes.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. By
So
all
there's
means.
some people think that once they retire, there's nothing for them to do, so they just keep working. There's plenty to do,
Plenty to do.
plenty to
As a
do.
senior citizen, I'm sorry, as a senior citizen, you don't want life to pass you by.
Right.
Because I was working in different places, I was hired at legal aid. I was hired because the lady that was in that, in part of the reason, the lady that was in that position, she was a very nice lady, but she couldn't catch on to the computer work. They have classes for senior citizens in
Yeah,
computer, email, how to send the email, and so on.
that's right.
You don't want life to pass you by. Just because you're a senior citizen now, it's not even about physical literacy. You have to be computer literate. I was
Yes.
talking to someone the other day. I was working with guys to apply for a job as a janitor. You had to
Mm,
apply for the job on the computer.
right.
So I don't care what it is. Nowadays, when the smartphone first came out, oh, I don't need a smartphone. Well, you can't even get a phone if it's not a smartphone nowadays. You
Yeah.
know, so you have to But there are senior classes that can teach a senior citizen how to work all of this newfangled technology.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to Pam the other day, and I was saying, kids 20 years ago, well, a child nowadays has no idea that you could walk up to the TV and turn it on. They look for the remote. Nowadays, a lot of TVs, they don't even have a
They don't
button
even have
to turn
on
it
and
on.
off
You have to
buttons.
use the remote.
Yeah. Yep. The newer
You
the
know,
models, the less buttons you have.
that's right. That's right. So all of this technology is something that as a senior citizen, as you are preparing to retire, these are the sort of classes and things that you can kind of keep yourself abreast on so that you're right in tune with all the other people. Nobody said you have to be computer genius or anything, but you can send email to your grandchildren. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You can
Yep.
do the little
Get on
things
the
and they
video
would love
view.
it and you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there are a lot of things. There's groups that take trips,
right.
senior citizen trips, and not
That's
saying
right.
that you want to be around senior citizens all the time, but for you to think that there's nothing in life for you to
Right.
do once you retire.
That's
These are just some ideas. There's plenty for you to do. They have all kind of groups out there that you can get involved with to help you uh, just maintain, not even maintain, but to help you not just think because you retired, you don't have, there's nothing to do.
And one of the things, again, from a standpoint of even ethnic groups, excuse me, the year before I left New York, I was working with the New York Department of Parks and Recreation, and I was teaching exercise to senior citizens. They sent out my information to about 10 different senior citizen centers. The only ones that called me: Shalom Senior Citizen Center, Dorchester Senior Citizen Center, 100% Jewish Senior Citizen Center. All
Wow.
the others was mixed race or all black. Nobody called me. So this is another thing we have to learn how to take advantage. It was free. It wasn't like the Senior Citizen Center had to pay for me. I was being paid through the Parks and Recreation. But those are the ones that take advantage of these things. So this is another thing we as a people have to learn how to take advantage. Everybody knows how to take advantage of us. We don't know how to take advantage of the
What they have
society.
to offer
And
us.
so we need, you can talk to your pastor about finding out are there different programs that's available out there. They may be in a better position to get more information than you as an individual. The
Right.
idea is that there are things out here for seniors, for everyone. But if we don't know, unfortunately, one of the reasons some of the people stay poor is that they stay ignorant. And there are times when people don't want you to know. So
Right.
that's why it's your job to seek out this information. Just don't sit back and think they're going to give it to you. If it's good, don't expect them to give it to you.
And I want to mention this, that they have um, tax people out there. I don't want to call them tax people, but tax agents. Not they're not even agents.
Tax preparers and your
Tax
expert.
preparers out
Yeah.
there that do taxes for free for senior
For
citizens.
seniors. That's right.
A lot of senior citizens is paying a lot of money for someone to do their taxes, and they don't have to.
That's so
So
very
that
good point. Very
so
good
that's
point.
something to look into,
Sure.
and that you don't have to pay a tax preparer $300 and you're a senior citizen. They
Right.
have tax preparers out there that you don't have to pay anything. They're
And
there.
that's a good point that you make. Senior citizens always be aware of scams. Always be aware of scams. You have a whole industry of just scamming senior citizens. And
Yeah.
so, you know, like they say, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Before you do anything, call a friend, call a family member, discuss it with somebody else. Just don't jump. Oh, they tell me if I got 5 hours to send this money in, and I'll get, you know, if it sounds too good to be true, and you, but they take advantage of senior citizens
They
every
do.
day of the week. There's somebody scamming, and I mean it's disgusting. Take all the person's hard-earned savings
Yeah.
for something. So you really have to be
Bad.
concerned with that, you know, and never give your money out. Don't give your social security number out on the internet or over the phone. You know, you can get phone calls that says, "Oh, we see that there's money that in with your name on it, and please do this, this, and this." You know, don't jump at these things.
Yeah.
They're targeting senior citizens. And so, you know, you just really always discuss these sort of things with someone else that you respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So those are a few things to look into. I also know, and I don't know if it's helpful or not, that after a certain age, you really don't have to pay taxes anymore. What's your thought on that?
Well, you know, be it by age or be it just by if you're on a fixed income, if the only thing you're getting is Social Security, then there's no taxes on that. Depending upon the state, you can find out the state. You in general know, and so that's really what it comes down to. But you can always give the tax person a quick call because, like I said, maybe one person, both of you are 75 years old, but you don't know they own $1 million condo in Florida, even though they may be living with, you know, they may be living in a meager existence over here. The government will know anything with your name on it, with property or whatever. The government have a record of it. So you are a certain age. Oh, I don't have to pay taxes. In general, that may be true, but you look into it for yourself to make sure that they recognize you as not having any income that's taxable.
Okay. I want to take a moment and say thank you for those that are on and that will come on later. If you haven't had a chance, please hit the like sign, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to share. And I want to say hey to Ashley and Tiffany and those that are watching that have not said anything. Thank you so much for being here. Today's topic is preparing for retirement. So that's what we've been talking about. Just some small things to do to prepare for retirement. And after you retire, what you can do. So thank you so much for being here. So I don't know if there's anything else that um, comes to mind, Donna, with retirement that.
Well, you know, just in general, in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of retirement, it's funny, as I say, I had a civil service job right out of high school. And no more than a year right afterwards, they sent me these forms for retirement. And I just cracked up laughing. I said, I'm 19 years old and you're sending me something for retirement. And here I am now retired. And I laughed. When I started that job, I was the baby on that job. I was the youngest person on that job. And I said, well, time has flown. Anyone listen to this now? I don't care if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. Don't think, oh, retirement is a way, away, away. It'll come here before you know it. God willing, and you live, you're going to retire.
Yes,
So
yes.
this is the. I had no thoughts of any kind of retirement back then, and even if I did, I mean, circumstances come up. Some people can start saving money at a young age for their retirement and so on. If you can, wonderful. If you can't, just keep in mind that the day will come that you will be on somewhat of a fixed income. So that's why I say to people, all of the little bells and whistles and gadgets that you want to buy, you buy it now before you retire. So that once you're retired, you got your music set up, you got your whatever it is that you like, you already put the money into that. So you don't have to worry about that. So now it's just your basic needs. You know, that's one of the things to prepare for retirement. You have the right to your toys and whistles and everything else. And
Hmm.
so before you retire, you get those things. And this way, that's solid. Now you can just really kind of prepare to live, and you don't have to live a moderate lifestyle, but unless you are well off, yeah, hopefully by the time you reach retirement, you've done a bunch of the things that you don't need to do it anymore. Somebody sent me something, said 10 things that don't really matter after 65.
Right.
I had somebody laugh and I said, when you're a young person, you're going to make sure you're in the mirror for 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. You're going to make sure you look good. Then you go into the gym and all of that. Then you hit 40 or 50 and 60 and you let yourself go. Exact opposite. 40, 50, 60. This is the time you start thinking about getting yourself together,
Yeah.
because now is the time. When you hit 40 years of age, regardless of what your health is, your vision changes.
Yeah.
There are just certain natural changes in the human body as you get older.
Yeah.
So the idea is that when you start getting into your 40s and 50s, that's when you want to start preparing yourself. Again, like I said, you go to the doctor. If you're a working person and you're paying for insurance, your insurance covers a lot of things. The more you can like a car. If you keep up with the maintenance of a car, you shouldn't have any major problems with that car. If you just let the car go and go and go and go and go, and one day it break down, then you find out you got to replace A, B, and C. But if you catch it early enough, whatever your condition may be, if you catch it early enough, by the time you get to be a senior citizen, you will have to live off of a bunch of medications and rubs and everything else.
Yeah.
So, retirement is just a part of life.
Yeah.
And you want to prepare yourself for that aspect of life by keeping your mind active. Your body is good. You don't have to run marathons or anything, but you want to take a walk every day. Another way of relieving stress, depending upon what neighborhood you live in. You may not want to walk by yourself, but you have a walking partner. You try to get one other person who's just as old as you are, and y'all can trade aches and pains together.
I don't want to trade no aches and pains. Look, if you got to talk about your aches and pains, I'm not walking with you.
But the point is that to realize you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Whatever your body feels like at 50, there's a whole lot of other people at 50, their body feels the same way. Yeah. And so the idea is just to prepare your mind and prepare your body, get yourself together so that you can really enjoy the golden years of your life. As I say, a hardworking, honest person, never got into any kind of legal problems, anything. And now here you come up to the time that you should be able to enjoy your life, and sickness is overwhelming you instead of you being able to just get up and enjoy life. And that's sad. I say it to people as a Social Security expert. Don't work hard all your life just to wind up giving the money to the doctor and the pharmacist.
Yeah.
That's all you can do now. Mm-hmm. So prepare. No such thing as over prepared.
So there's 3 things, because that's something for caregivers. And caregivers, they take care of everybody else and they forget about
take care of themselves. That's right.
And the other thing is I remember my mom saying she wasn't worried about dying because somebody would bury her, and that's what happened. But it puts strain on the family members when they're not prepared to bury you. So to at least get enough insurance that if something happens to you, that the money is there to bury you.
Good point.
The third thing is that a lot of people have Silver Sneakers, which is a workout program that is built into whatever the health, whatever health insurance you have, which means you can go to the gym for free. And I just joined up, and I want to put that out there that
wonderful.
At the age of 66, I think it is. Yeah, 66, that it's a lot of your health programs have what you call Silver Sneakers, and they pay for you to go to the gym. So I called the other day for some numbers or something that the gym needed. And they say, oh yeah, you have a 300, was it 300, $600 credit? Can't remember, but I have a credit, but you can't use it. This is the thing that gets me. you can't use it on what you want to use it on. They
Has to
give
be
you a
on their
list of what
special.
you can use it on, you know.
Sure.
But there's things that are already in your insurance, and you need to really make sure that you understand what you have and what you can use in your
Yes.
insurance, built into your
Yes.
insurance.
Yes, that is
So,
very key. That is
mm,
very, very key. You may be eligible again. You the gym membership, the chiropractor, the
right,
physical therapist. You may be eligible for many of those things. It's in your insurance and you're paying for it. But unless you ask, they're not going to tell you.
they're
So
not
yes,
going
when
to
you
tell you.
find out what's
Right.
available for me,
Right. And if I
very
never called to ask that question,
they weren't
I
going to
wouldn't
tell
even
you.
know I had
That's
a
right.
credit. And
That's
that's
right.
on top of them, paying. That's extra. That was
Yes.
extra. And it's like, now I just called the other day. It's like, if you don't use it by December, you lose it. So it's like, well, December is here. So yeah, find out what's really available to you. Make sure that and don't think that there's insurances out there that will cover just what you that's affordable for you to cover just what you need, so that when you pass away, that your family don't have to do a GoFundMe account, or don't have to come together as a family and try to put the money together to bury you.
Yes.
Take the stress off your family. I know that there's situations that some people can't, but for those of you that can,
Right.
take the stress off your family, pay the little bit of money, have enough to bury you. They don't have to have $20,000 to bury you. It's no. And I was watching this. What is it? He was a funeral director, and he was telling the truth about all you need to be buried in, and all that other stuff is extra.
That's extra.
I told my girls, don't have a funeral. You can have a memorial. Put me in a pine box.
Box.
Let it be all. Y'all keep the money and don't put it in the ground. You
That's
know,
right. That's
and
right.
that's everybody has different
Sure,
opinions
you have
on that. But
sure. Well,
I
my mother
really
being the type
believe
of woman
in.
she was, she said that as well. She said, you can cremate me. Don't you put that money into no funeral.
I don't know if I want them to cremate me, but don't you know keep the money for yourself.
Yes,
Use
yes,
it uh, wisely.
wisely.
But it's up to them the way they use it. But
Sure.
that's my desire. You don't have to have a funeral. If you want to have a memorial, that's fine, and that's what Joel did. For your mom. But those are some of the important things
Yes. And
that
as
you
you're saying that, you have what they have called an advanced healthcare directive. Don't wait until should you get sick. You have an advanced healthcare directive. Should you be in a coma or anything and you can't make decisions, you can have an advanced healthcare directive that you put someone that you trust in charge of what they want, what they should do in that medical situation. And that's any hospital you go to, even the doctor's office, you can ask for an advanced healthcare directive, be it a family member or someone that you trust. That would be the person that you put in charge of that advanced healthcare directive.
so now that you brought that up, two other things. If you have what's the person called that's over you while you're alive? Mm,
Well, like an executor, guardian ad litem. There's several things. I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
yeah. But it used to be that when this person would handle your business,
Hmm.
that even after you pass, they could still handle your business. Now, is that now you have to have something different once the person passed to,
Right.
they have to have two separate things done. What is it? Hmm,
Well, like in Pam's family's case, one of the people, she passed away. Pam's sister was made the executor of the estate. And this was after she, so like I say, a person could be, as a part of the advanced healthcare directive, they would be in charge of things while the person is alive. If the person passes away, that person doesn't automatically have anything to do with the
right.
person's finances. that's when the person's executor and so on would take over. And so you want to have people, and these are simple things. You don't need a lawyer. Depending upon your income, you can go to legal aid. We used to do it at legal aid every day, just about. We would have someone who would sign an advanced healthcare directive, or even a minimal kind of a will, that you would be able to, you have your paperwork, to be able to say, this is who I want to take over my house or my business or whatever. One thing also as well, yes, if you have property
I was
before you
going to
pass
say
away,
that.
if you have property before you pass away, you want to try to get it into a will.
Yeah.
Exactly who's going to get what, because there's always a fight about that. Who's going to get who's going to get the furniture? Who's
Yeah. But now they're saying that there's a specific way you need to have the children, um, if the children are to take care of your home, that there's a specific way to do that so that they don't have any, I want to say the wrong word, which is repercussions, but they'll be cleared as having the rights to take over the home and
right?
not continue with have, like, if there's taxes owed or anything on that home, anything owed on that home, it doesn't come the children's responsibility.
Right.
So
They'll
now
take
they're
it out of the
telling you,
person's monies. Yeah, they'll take it out of the person's monies and not make you pay it, per se.
right,
This is what happened, I say, even with Pam, with the aunt. She passed away, and so any taxes on the real estate and so on, it came out of her assets. It wasn't like Pam or the sister had to pay for any of that. It
okay,
come off the top. Same
oh,
thing if if you have an attorney, any of the attorney fees will come out of the person's monies and not you having to pay extra monies for that. So
power
those
of attorney.
power of attorney. There we go. So those are the sort of things that you can always go to. You can first and foremost go to a legal aid in your state. If legal aid doesn't do it, if you have a disability, you can go to the Protection and Advocacy Agency in your state and see if they do that sort of work. There are a lot of simple wills and things nowadays that you can download the paperwork. There's a
Right.
lot, even divorce. If it's a simple divorce, there's a lot of things you can do just
Yeah.
on the
Not
paperwork.
like it used to be.
Not
Yeah.
like it used to be. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
those are the sort of things that you can look into in terms of what would be the least expensive way for me to get this paperwork done.
Yeah. So, power of attorney, guys,
Power,
not like it used to be.
right.
This only while the person is living.
Living.
Once that person passes away, there's a whole nother form that has to be filled out, that if you're going to be the person that handles things after
Right.
they passed away, that you can do so. Because if you just have power of attorney, once they pass away, they say, mm-mm,
You
you
have
don't
no
have the
power.
right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this is good. Thank you. I thought of one other thing, but it slipped my mind now, that needed to be mentioned. But these are just some of the avenues that people need to be aware of. So that going to, as you said, advocate and finding out all what you need to know. Yes, you need to have a living will, and you need to have a will if you're in the hospital and something happens to you. Well, that's a part of the living will. But
Hmm.
even this, what's the other will?
Advanced healthcare directive. Yeah, the healthcare advanced healthcare directive.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So make sure that you have yourself in position that if anything happens to you, your children don't have to be stressed out wondering how and what to do. And if you're on medication, and if something happens to you, your children need to know, or whoever is helping you or around you need to know what they are, so that when if you have to go to emergency, if they have to come somewhere because you fell out somewhere or something happened to you,
that's
that they
right.
know what you're on and what needs to be done. We have to make sure these papers are in order. All our papers
Yes,
are in order, and if we don't do that, we make it hard for the family. So
very true.
just
Very
wanted
true.
to say that. And Donna, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And any good new information you get, let me know. and
Will do.
we'll be right here to let the people know what's new and what's going on. Don't be afraid to retire. One of the things how that happened to me was I had a bad car accident, barely walking, started walking, was able to do minimum work, and I didn't know that I could collect until someone told me about, you can get your husband's spousal social security. And I was like, no, I didn't know. And they was like, fill out the form. And I filed it and I had it so quick. And
Yeah,
I didn't even know that it was available to me. So there's a lot of things that we are ignorant of and we don't know that's available to us that can help us out. And
that's
we
right.
need to really reach out to people and find out what they are. And there are people out there. There's a usually you might even have community centers that have all these things available to you and that can give you all the information you have. I'm trying to remember, there was a house in Philadelphia called the Dixon House, but in that Dixon House, they had attorneys, they had people to help you with buying your home for the first time. All these different things that was available, and most people don't even know that it's in their community and available to them. So really research your community, see what you have available, and use it. Use it.
Yes.
And if you
You,
don't have to pay money for something, don't pay money for something. Get it
exactly.
free. Yeah. So thank you. I should have said if you have any questions, put it in the chat. But our time is up. We're at the top of the hour. It's very early. It's what is it now? There.
4 minutes after 10 in the morning.
So he's just getting his day started. I appreciate him coming on. And for the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your day. And we will see you soon. Have a good day.
Aloha.
Aloha.